Imagine this. Every single year, all around the world, over 70 million automobiles are manufactured, and each one of them demands high-technology glass. From the broken flask with nitrocellulose that accidentally revealed laminated glass, to the powerful hydrophobic coatings, the history of this material is truly astonishing. Today, we are going to learn how glass becomes ultra-strong, safe, and prepared to protect us from wind, rain, and the dangers of the road. Please get ready for a journey into the realm of advanced modern technology. Thousands of short tons of glass scrap are recycled in order to create crystal-clear windows for automobiles. It is not only about safety, but also about saving precious resources. And that is just the beginning. The history of automobile glass production is closely linked to the development of the automobile industry, which emerged in the late 19th century. The glass used in today's automobiles has undergone a long path of improvements that have made it safer, stronger, and more functional. When the very first automobiles began to appear, they were initially not equipped with any glass at all. The open body design offered only partial protection to passengers, while dust, wind, insects, and other hazards made traveling extremely uncomfortable. Later on, when automobiles became faster, the need for driver and passenger protection emerged. Windshields were first made from ordinary window glass, which, although it provided some degree of protection, had a serious drawback. In accidents, it would shatter into large, sharp fragments that resulted in numerous injuries. The first groundbreaking discovery in the field of automobile glass was the creation of laminated glass. This happened by chance. In 1903, a French chemist named Edouard Benedictus accidentally dropped a flask coated with nitrocellulose. The glass cracked but stayed in one piece, thanks to the thin layer of plastic. This accident inspired the scientist to develop a multi-layered glass, which later became the basis for Triplex. By the 1910s, laminated glass was already being used in premium-class automobiles. Its construction consisted of 2 layers of glass with a thin, transparent film in between them. In the event of impact, the glass did not scatter, and cracks remained on the film. In the 1920s, laminated glass began to be widely used in the production of windshields. Its main advantage was increased safety. Even in serious accidents, the fragments did not fly apart, but remained embedded in the polymer layer. The next stage in the evolution of automobile glass arrived in the 1930s, when the technology for making tempered glass was patented. This material was produced by heating the glass to high temperatures followed by a rapid cooling. As a result of such a process, the glass became stronger, and upon breaking, it would fracture into small pieces with dull edges, minimizing injuries. By the middle of the 20th century, tempered glass was being used for the side and rear windows of automobiles. It was less expensive to manufacture compared to Triplex and provided a sufficient level of safety for those parts of the vehicle. In the 1950s and 1960s, automobile glass became even more advanced thanks to ongoing technological progress. During this time, several important changes took place. Improvement of Triplex. The development of new polymer films made laminated glass more transparent, resistant to ultraviolet radiation, and more durable. Mass production. The automation of manufacturing processes drove down the cost of automobile glass, making it more affordable for a wide range of consumers. Coatings for sun protection. Special coatings that blocked ultraviolet rays and reduced the heating of the automobile cabin were used for the first time. One of the most significant technological breakthroughs in glass production was the invention of the float method in 1959. This technology, developed by the British company Pilkington, enabled the manufacturing of perfectly smooth glass by allowing molten glass to spread across the surface of molten tin. Through this method, the glass became more uniform, stronger, and better suited to mass production. Even today, the float method remains the foundation of automobile glass manufacturing, ensuring precise dimensions, a smooth surface, and high quality. In the second half of the 20th century, automobile glass underwent even more changes aimed at improving both safety and comfort. In the 1960s, heating filaments began to be installed in the rear window of automobiles, preventing condensation and freezing. In the 1980s, glass was introduced with special metallic coatings that reflected sunlight and reduced heat buildup inside the vehicle. Glass with ultraviolet protection. With the introduction of new technologies, automobile glass began providing virtually complete protection from harmful ultraviolet radiation. And now, we enter the modern period of automobile glass production, which we will discuss at this very moment. We shall start with the glass used in automobiles. Automobile glass is divided into several types, depending on its purpose and manufacturing technology. Windshield. This is usually multi-layered glass composed of two sheets of glass with a polymer film between them. This design ensures that, if damaged, the glass does not break into sharp fragments. Side and rear glass. Most often, this is tempered glass, which, upon impact, fractures into small, blunt-edged pieces that reduce the risk of injury. Panoramic roofs, or other special types of glass, often use laminated or tempered glass with specialized coatings for protection against ultraviolet radiation. The main components of glass are natural materials, which are mixed in certain proportions to achieve the desired properties. Quartz sand is the principal element in glass, giving it transparency. It must be extremely pure and contain minimal impurities. Soda is added to lower the melting temperature of glass. Lime improves the mechanical durability and chemical characteristics of glass. Additional additives. These are used to adjust color, transparency, resistance to ultraviolet light, and other properties. The raw materials are cleaned, dried, and ground to a uniform state. It is crucial to eliminate as many impurities as possible, as they can affect the quality of the glass. After preparation, the raw mixture is poured into special furnaces for melting. This stage includes a few important steps, so let us review them together. Melting temperature. To create molten glass, a temperature of about 2,732 degrees Fahrenheit is used. Throughout the melting process, the raw materials transform into a uniform, viscous liquid. Homogenization. The molten glass is stirred to distribute components evenly. This is important for preventing air bubbles or other irregularities in the finished product. The furnaces for melting glass are equipped with modern systems for temperature control and process automation, which guarantee the high quality of the final product. After melting, the molten glass proceeds to the forming stage, most commonly performed using the float method in modern manufacturing. Feeding the molten glass. The liquid glass flows from the furnace onto a bath of molten tin. Due to the high density of tin, the molten glass spreads out uniformly across its surface. Under its own weight, the glass forms a perfectly even and smooth surface. Gradually lowering the temperature makes the glass grow solid. By the time it leaves the tin bath, it is ready for further processing. The float method allows the production of glass sheets with precise geometric parameters and a very high quality finish. Once it is cooled, the sheets of glass are cut to the sizes required for automobile manufacturing. Automated cutting machines ensure accuracy, and to prevent chips or cracks, the edges of the glass are polished. Every sheet is checked for defects, such as microcracks, bubbles, or other damage. Next, to ensure the strength and safety of automobile glass, it undergoes the process of tempering. The glass is heated to a temperature of around 1,112 degrees Fahrenheit. Then the surface is quickly cooled by air jets, while the inner layers cool more slowly. As a result, stress is created, which greatly increases impact resistance. Tempered glass, when broken, shatters into small, safer fragments, minimizing the risk of injuries. After that, for the windshield, a triplex construction is used, which is a combination of glass and polymer film. Its fabrication involves several steps. Layer bonding. A polymer film is placed between two sheets of glass. The construction is placed into a vacuum press to remove air bubbles. Then the glass is heated in an autoclave to 284 degrees Fahrenheit under high pressure, ensuring a strong bond between the layers. Triplex has high impact resistance, and if damaged, the fragments stay attached to the polymer film, thus providing safety for the driver and passengers. Afterward, to enhance the properties of automobile glass, various coatings are applied. Anti-glare coatings reduce glare from the sun or from other vehicles' headlights. Ultraviolet protection. Special layers block harmful ultraviolet radiation. Hydrophobic coatings allow water to bead and roll off the glass surface. Heating elements. thin heating filaments can be embedded in the windshield, making it easier to remove ice or condensation. To achieve the required shape, special thermoforming equipment is employed. The glass is heated to a temperature at which it becomes pliable, and it is then molded according to specified parameters. And here we arrive at the final stage. During this stage, each piece undergoes a thorough inspection. The transparency is tested, and any defects are identified. Next, the glass is tested for impact resistance and durability under load, compliance with standards, the accuracy of dimensions, the shape, and other parameters are verified. Then the finished automobile glass is packaged in a manner that prevents damage during transportation. It is delivered to automobile factories or service centers, where it is installed in vehicles. The production of automobile glass is a high-technology process that brings together physics, chemistry, and engineering. Thanks to advanced technologies and strict quality control standards, automobile glass ensures safety, comfort, and longevity. And just imagine how many stages automobile glass must go through so that we can watch over road safety and admire wonderful vistas along the way. I find it remarkable. Do you also think so? Every single day, more than 20 million banknotes are destroyed in the United States. That is a mountain of money that could reach the sky. But what exactly happens to them? Are they burned, shredded, or maybe turned into something completely unexpected? US dollars have their own life cycle, and their disposal is a high-security operation involving armored trucks, strict inspections, and secret routes. How do old banknotes disappear forever? And is there any way to save them? Let's find out. The dollar as a currency has a fascinating history. It all began in the mid-17th century. The first dollars appeared in the New England colonies in the year 1690, at a time when the United States did not yet have a unified national currency. Back then, the colonies issued their own money, and one of these was the so-called paper dollar. However, the true dollar as we know it today emerged later, in the year 1792, when the United States Congress passed the Coinage Act. This was the country's first attempt to introduce a single currency, establishing the dollar standard based on a silver coin. The dollar quickly became the main currency for trade and wealth accumulation, as the nation sought to create a stable and accessible monetary system that would support its economy and commercial ties. Today, the dollar has evolved into one of the world's leading currencies, used in international transactions across the globe. The idea of disposing of old banknotes arose at the beginning of modern financial systems, especially when currencies started to become standardized and central banks began managing the money supply. In other words, the process of removing worn-out dollars started as soon as money became a stable and regulated instrument, though it was not officially systematized until much later. The concept of destroying damaged money first appeared in Great Britain during the 19th century, when the British government realized that allowing worn-out banknotes or coins to remain in circulation reduced the overall value of the currency. However, the systematic destruction of money, as it is done today, only became possible with advancements in modern financial systems and technology. In the United States, the first efforts to manage old and worn-out dollars began in the mid-19th century, when the first central authorities responsible for currency emerged, and money became a key instrument of the national economy. In the year 1861, when the United States first introduced federal paper money, known as greenbacks, the need arose to organize their circulation, including their disposal. The official process of destroying old dollars was established by the Federal Reserve after its creation in the year 1913. The Federal Reserve became the primary institution responsible for regulating the money supply, including removing old banknotes from circulation. The idea of destroying old banknotes was first introduced by central banks, which discovered that worn-out and damaged money not only harmed the image of a national currency, but could also create economic problems. If old banknotes remained in circulation, it could destabilize the monetary system, increase the risk of counterfeiting, and even affect inflation rates. To prevent this, the Federal Reserve established a clear policy outlining when and how banknotes should be removed from circulation. This became an essential part of maintaining economic stability. So, what exactly happens to all the money that can no longer be used and that no one wants to see anymore? Are they just burned? Well, not exactly. Disposing of US dollars is a complex process that follows a highly regulated system, ensuring both destruction and security. Here's how it works. First of all, when money is removed from circulation, whether it is declared damaged or obsolete, it does not simply get thrown in the trash. Everything goes through the United States Federal Reserve System, which manages the issuance and renewal of dollars. They collect old banknotes and send them to specialized facilities for further disposal. When you or someone else brings damaged or worn-out dollars to a bank, that is where the process begins. Banks have strict procedures for identifying banknotes that are no longer fit for circulation. These banknotes are inspected both manually and automatically using specialized machines that detect damage, wear, or counterfeit signs. Modern ATMs and cash dispensers are also equipped with sensors to detect worn-out banknotes. If a bill is found to be damaged or degraded, it is usually placed into special compartments or sent to sorting machines in banks. Once a sufficient number of old banknotes accumulate in banks, they are sent to the next stage, the Federal Reserve. These are special facilities located across the country that inspect, replace, and dispose of currency. Several such centers exist across the United States, strategically positioned to efficiently serve all regions. The process of transporting old banknotes to the Federal Reserve or specialized disposal facilities is strictly regulated. Banks typically work with security firms specializing in transporting large sums of money. Old banknotes are packed into special bags or containers that are sealed and secured against unauthorized access. This is crucial because even old money remains a potential target for theft or counterfeiting if not handled properly. Security guards or specialized couriers deliver these packages to the Federal Reserve or disposal facilities. The transport companies involved in this process operate under the highest security standards, and shipments are often escorted by police or other security services when necessary. You would not believe how many old banknotes accumulate each year, and this applies not only to US dollars, but also to other currencies. Bank vaults are not limitless in space, so from time to time, large batches of worn-out bills must be removed. Every day, thousands of banknotes pass through people's hands. Some get crumpled, some get coffee spilled on them, and some even end up in the laundry. Add the natural wear and tear, and you have a massive pile of money that is no longer usable. Imagine this. Every single day, the United States Federal Reserve destroys millions of banknotes. If you stacked them up, they would reach as high as a skyscraper. And that is just in one day. Transporting such massive amounts requires trucks. Money is packed into special bags or boxes. Each container has a unique number and seal to ensure it remains unopened. And while these may no longer be real money in a traditional sense, they still hold value. So the security of such shipments is incredibly tight. It is almost like a scene from an action movie. Armored trucks, armed guards, secret routes. Except here, instead of a heist, the mission is to get rid of this money forever. A true financial thriller, right? Before the old banknotes are destroyed, they go through careful inspection. Special systems determine whether they can be reused. If a banknote still retains at least 50% of its original form, it can be reintroduced into circulation after a special treatment, such as reprocessing or trimming. This significantly reduces the cost of printing new banknotes. Every year, an enormous amount of old dollars is destroyed in the United States. For example, in the year 2020, around 7 billion banknotes were eliminated because they were too worn out to remain in circulation. This process is continuously maintained at the highest level to keep the currency stable. Some damaged banknotes are not immediately burned. Instead, they are recycled into other materials, such as fibers that are later used to produce new banknotes. This helps reduce production costs and support sustainability efforts. There is also an interesting psychological aspect to this process. For many people, destroying money might seem like a loss of value, but in reality, it is part of a continuous cycle that helps preserve the stability and worth of the currency. That is why this process is just as crucial as printing new money. Old US dollars are often destroyed in specialized incinerators or through processes that ensure maximum material utilization. Banknotes are burned at temperatures of approximately 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit, completely obliterating them. Furthermore, advanced filtration and technology capture toxic gases and other harmful byproducts to ensure safety during the process. But does it not feel strange to burn so much money? Given how much we spend daily, these sums seem enormous. However, the portion of money that gets destroyed is actually a tiny fraction of the total circulating supply. In the end, the system is highly reliable and efficient. After the banknotes are burned, tons of ash remain. Some companies repurpose this ash into materials for making compost or even bricks. This part fascinates me. Dollars get reborn and continue serving humanity in new ways. This is California, USA, where around 1.7 million cows on thousands of dairy farms produce more than 13 million gallons of milk every day. So, how does this massive amount turn into the sweet treat that once saved soldiers' lives and changed history? I visited one of the largest factories in the world to dive into the fascinating process of making condensed milk and to share the story with you. In 1856, American inventor Gale Borden first came up with this product. His creation solved the dilemma of preserving milk in the days before refrigerators, making it possible to store milk in cans for at least a year. During the American Civil War, it played a crucial role in supplying soldiers with milk in combat zones where dairy cows were not available. Thanks to its long shelf life and valuable nutritional properties, it became the preferred choice for feeding soldiers. The process of making condensed milk begins on dairy farms. To meet the high demand for this delicious product, factories like Nestlé's in California operate around the clock, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. This factory processes more than 420,000 gallons of milk daily. Massive tank trucks arrive non-stop, transporting between 130,000 and 185,000 gallons of milk each day from nearby farms. Most of the incoming milk was collected just 6 hours earlier, so it's incredibly fresh. However, before the milk is accepted, it undergoes lab testing. The fat and salt content must meet factory standards, and the milk must be free of antibiotics to avoid allergic reactions in some people. But where do the farmers get such milk? Most of the milk in the US comes from roughly 60,000 dairy farms, where over 9 million cows are raised specifically for milk production. Over the past century, the milking machine has become an essential tool. The part of the machine that attaches to the cow's teat is called a cup, and it works similarly to a hand, applying pressure to the udder to extract milk. A farmer can manually milk about 6 cows per hour, but with a specialized device, that number can jump to 100 cows per hour. The ingenuity of this innovative device has optimized milk production, but the way a farmer cares for their cows also impacts the quality of the milk. The more care given to the animals, the longer their lifespan and the more milk they produce. On this massive dairy farm, 8,000 cows graze. It's one of many farms that use technology to improve cow living conditions and boost productivity. In cow carousels, known as milking parlors, up to 80 cows can be milked at once, twice a day. Dairy cows are creatures of habit, and they enjoy sticking to a routine, which makes the milking process smoother. These advanced milking parlors outperform traditional machines, increasing the milk flow rate by 30%. Before attaching the milking cups, workers disinfect the cow's udders with an iodine solution. This process mimics the sucking motion of a calf to ensure organic milk production. The entire procedure takes about 7 minutes, and after milking, the cups automatically detach. These animals spend around 8 hours a day eating. Consuming 100 pounds of feed and 80 gallons of water, a cow can produce up to 10 gallons of milk a day, 7 days a week. Thanks to technological advancements and more nutrient-rich feeds, today's cows are 3 times more productive than they were 50 years ago. A dairy cow starts producing milk at around 2 years old, once she gives birth to her first calf. Typically, the calf is separated from its mother within an hour of birth to prevent harmful bacteria from reaching the mother's udder. From then on, the calf is bottle-fed with its mother's milk, while the cow begins her career as a milk producer. For 305 consecutive days, the cow is milked twice a day, after which she gets a well-deserved 60-day break to give birth to another calf. Once the cow delivers, the milking process begins all over again. The liquid produced by cows is a nutrient-rich substance that consists of 87% water. This process begins when food is digested in the cow's stomach and transformed into nutrients, which are absorbed into the bloodstream. These nutrients travel to the mammary glands, where they are converted into the valuable liquid we know as milk. Milk is collected from the udder at a temperature of 90 degrees Fahrenheit and transported via pumps into storage tanks, which are then cooled. In these tanks, the milk is stored at a safe temperature of 36 to 37 degrees Fahrenheit. However, at this stage, the milk is still in its natural state and may contain harmful microorganisms. That's why it is loaded into a 5,300-gallon tanker truck and taken to a dairy processing plant. After the milk has passed all stages of quality control, it is sent to a centrifuge separator to speed up the separation process. In the top section, cone-shaped discs spin at an impressive speed of 7,000 revolutions per minute, processing over 5,800 gallons per hour. Under the force of centrifugal action, the heavier skim milk moves outward, while the lighter cream moves toward the center. As a result, we get cream with a fat content of around 20% and skim milk with a fat content of less than 1%. The skim milk serves as the starting point for making condensed milk. Next, the milk undergoes the pasteurization process to destroy any bacteria present. To begin this procedure, the milk is first cooled to a temperature of around 37 degrees Fahrenheit, then passed through a heat exchanger that raises its temperature to 162 degrees Fahrenheit. After heating, the milk is transferred to a chamber where it is held for 15.5 seconds, achieving the required level of pasteurization. The milk is then cooled back down to 37 degrees Fahrenheit. In less than 40 seconds, complete pasteurization reduces the bacteria count in the product by 99%. Before the introduction of pasteurization technology, most consumed milk was in its natural state, leading to quick spoilage and exposing people to the risk of infection from potentially dangerous microorganisms. In 1862, the famous French scientist Louis Pasteur proposed an innovative solution originally aimed at preventing wine from spoiling, which was later applied to milk. After milk is pasteurized, a large amount of sugar is added to it. The sugar not only gives the milk a sweet taste, but also acts as a preservative, helping to extend its shelf life. The mixture of milk and sugar is reheated so that the sugar fully dissolves and becomes uniform. The heat not only helps dissolve the sugar, but also prevents the formation of crystals that could affect the smooth texture of condensed milk. After this, the milk enters an evaporator, an enormous device designed to remove water from the milk. At this stage, the milk becomes thicker as the water content is reduced by about 60%. Using heat and pressure, the evaporator manages to evaporate the water from the milk without altering its properties, allowing the concentration of solids like proteins, sugars, and fats. This process gives condensed milk its thick texture and delightful sweet flavor. The evaporator consists of a series of vertical structures called calandrias. Inside each calandria is a set of stainless steel tubes through which the milk circulates. A steam chamber surrounds these tubes. The milk enters each calandria from the top and flows down through tiny channels. As it moves downward, the steam enveloping the tubes heats the milk, causing the water within it to evaporate. Once the milk reaches the desired thickness, it is removed from the evaporator. Next, the milk undergoes an additional process called homogenization, where the fat is broken down into small uniform particles to improve its consistency and stability. Before the condensed milk is packaged, the containers must be sterilized to eliminate any microorganisms that could affect the product's quality. Once the condensed milk is processed and has reached the perfect consistency, it is transferred to a packaging machine. These machines precisely measure the required amount of product into each container, ensuring consistency and reducing waste. After filling, the containers are sealed tightly to prevent any contaminants from entering. To ensure the product's safety, the filled and sealed containers undergo an additional sterilization process. The cans are placed in autoclaves, where they are exposed to steam under high pressure to destroy any remaining microorganisms. This procedure ensures that the condensed milk inside the container is completely safe to consume and has a long shelf life. In addition to meeting domestic demand, condensed milk is widely exported around the world. Thanks to its long shelf life and high nutritional value, it is a popular product in countries with limited access to fresh milk. Condensed milk-producing countries like the United States and several European nations actively supply this product to markets in Asia, Africa, and Latin America. The export of condensed milk helps strengthen international trade relationships and ensures that people in various regions have access to quality dairy nutrition. Each year, more than 93 million short tons of delicious oranges are harvested worldwide. Over 60% of that amount is used to produce bottled orange juice. But how is this process carried out in industrial plants? To find out, let's visit a factory in the United States that specializes in producing more than 530,000 gallons of orange juice per day. An orange plantation consists of evergreen trees with vertical trunks and compact rounded canopies. Their sturdy trunks are made of strong wood and covered by a thin bark, which can range in color from green to gray-brown, depending on the layout of the plantation. These trees can grow to heights between 20 and 33 feet. To successfully grow oranges, ideal conditions are required. The perfect elevation for the trees is between 1,600 and 330 feet above sea level, and the optimal temperature is 75 degrees Fahrenheit. It's essential that the soil is slightly alkaline, with good drainage capacity. Sunlight is also crucial, especially during the flowering and fruiting periods. Oranges can be propagated in two ways, sexually through seeds or asexually through grafting. The fruit-bearing timeline depends on the propagation method. If grown from seeds, it can take up to 7 years for the trees to start producing oranges. In contrast, using grafting can reduce this time to about 3 years. Once the tree has flowered, the fruit typically matures over a period of 6 to 14 months. For the best quality and flavor, it is recommended to harvest oranges 2 to 3 months before they fully ripen. Oranges undergo multiple checks to determine their ripeness. The ratio of sugar to water is tested, and when the sugar content reaches at least 10%, they are ready for harvest. Citrus fruits are picked at their peak sweetness and juiciness because they do not continue to ripen after being harvested. For the production of freshly squeezed juice, two main varieties of oranges are typically used, Valencia and Hamlin. These oranges are hand-picked while they are still slightly underripe. Harvesters carefully inspect each orange, discarding any that have cuts or holes to prevent possible damage to the inside. However, on large plantations where many oranges ripen simultaneously, the harvest must be completed quickly. To speed up the process, a device known as a tree shaker is used. This machine grips the tree branches and shakes them vigorously to release the oranges. Capable of harvesting up to 4,400 pounds of oranges per minute, it greatly accelerates the harvest in large citrus groves. Although mechanical harvesters, which can cost around $500,000, are able to collect between 88,000 and 110,000 short tons of oranges per year, many farms still rely on manual labor, requiring hundreds of workers to get the job done. Workers carefully place the juicy oranges into large canvas bags and carry them to containers. This manual approach allows for more careful selection and reduces the impact on the fruit. The juicy oranges are sent to the juice production plant and first pass through a cleaning station, which works much like a car wash at a gas station. An environmentally friendly soap solution is applied to the fruit, and rotating nylon brushes scrub them as they move along a long conveyor belt. Afterward, the soap is rinsed off with cold water, and the oranges are dried using blasts of air from fans. Once they exit the drying machine, the fruit is carefully inspected by a specialist to ensure that no bad oranges were missed. At the sorting stage, some modern production lines are equipped with more advanced scanners that provide additional assistance in identifying any issues. In the final step, the oranges pass through a series of gentle brushes that remove any remaining dust and dirt. It's time to move on to the juicing process, the most crucial step in producing delicious orange juice. After thorough cleaning, the oranges are fed into a machine known as an extractor. This extractor was specifically designed to maximize both the efficiency and quality of the juice. It consists of a pair of round metal ridges that forcefully pierce the orange peel, remove it, and extract the juice. During this process, not only is the essential liquid extracted, but also the seeds and the bitter white layer, called the albedo, which separates the soft pulp from the tough outer skin. The goal is to produce juice that is as pure and flavorful as possible, free of any components that might negatively affect its taste or texture. After the juice is extracted, the nectar is collected in a reservoir. Here it passes through a filtration system that allows the pulp level to be adjusted based on customer preference. Fine mesh filters produce a smooth, clear juice, while more open filters let through small pieces of pulp, resulting in a thicker, more fibrous juice. The orange juice then undergoes pasteurization to ensure safety, followed by rapid cooling before being bottled or stored in massive 10,500-gallon containers at 39 degrees Fahrenheit to preserve its properties. It takes approximately 13 to 15 oranges to produce 1 quart of juice. This process ensures that every tiny drop of nectar is packed with exquisite, bold flavor, rich in the fruit's valuable nutrients. Before packaging, a thorough quality inspection is conducted to ensure the final product meets the highest standards. Various aspects of the juice, such as sweetness, acidity, pulp content, citrus essence, texture, and most importantly, taste, are checked. These checks guarantee that every batch of orange juice maintains a consistent and refined flavor. After the juice passes quality control, it moves to the bottling line. Cardboard cartons and plastic containers travel along a complex automated production line, where they are filled and sealed tightly to preserve freshness. This procedure is carefully designed to minimize exposure to oxygen and prevent oxidation, ensuring the juice retains its delicious flavor and valuable nutrients. Once bottled, the freshly squeezed orange juice is quickly cooled to prevent any potential spoilage, and then transported in refrigerated trucks to supermarkets across the country. Rapid cooling is essential to maintaining the product's freshness until it reaches consumers. The refrigerated trucks keep the juice at the ideal temperature throughout the entire journey, preventing any changes in taste or quality. From the moment oranges are harvested to when the juice appears on supermarket shelves, every step of the process is carefully planned to ensure that customers can enjoy a product of the highest quality. Thanks to innovative processing methods and strict quality standards, the delicious flavor and nutritional benefits of orange juice are guaranteed to stay fresh and natural. The numerous health benefits of orange juice are truly endless. Packed with vitamins A and C, it boosts the body's immune defenses, helping to prevent illness. It also aids in preventing anemia, as vitamin C enhances the absorption of iron, which is essential for producing hemoglobin and transporting oxygen through the blood. In addition, orange juice helps slow down premature aging due to its antioxidants, such as beta-carotene, lutein, and zeaxanthin, which protect the skin and stimulate collagen production, reducing wrinkles and maintaining skin elasticity. It also helps prevent high blood pressure, thanks to its potassium content, which relaxes blood vessels and helps regulate sodium levels in the bloodstream. Not only does orange juice combat inflammation and reduce oxidative stress due to its anti-inflammatory properties, but it also supports the prevention of chronic diseases. Today, orange cultivation is one of the most prosperous industries worldwide. The leading producer of this fruit is Brazil, followed by India, China, Mexico, and the United States. Oranges, which belong to the Rutaceae family and the citrus genus, stand out among their relatives. a group that includes around 16 species known for their delicious, vitamin C-rich fruits. Successful cultivation of oranges requires a variety of techniques and careful maintenance, as environmental factors can significantly affect the plants and their fruits. This includes aspects such as morphology, size, color, texture, and the balance of acidity and sugar. The origin of the word orange traces back to the Arabic word naran. Sweet oranges are believed to have originated in southeastern China, and it is likely that the Romans introduced them to Europe. However, it wasn't until the early 15th century, after Marco Polo's travels to China, that Genoese merchants brought the cultivation of sweet oranges to Europe. Later, in the 16th century, the Spanish brought oranges to the Americas, starting in the United States and then spreading them to South America, South Africa, and parts of Australia. There is no doubt that orange juice offers many health benefits. However, it should be consumed in moderation, as excessive intake can raise blood sugar levels due to its high concentration of fructose. Typically, a single glass of juice contains the equivalent of 3 to 4 oranges, so it is best enjoyed as part of a balanced diet. As a result, a vast quantity of orange juice is produced daily. Forget everything you knew about fuel. Sugarcane bioethanol is ushering in a new era of energy. With technologies that automate every step, from planting to distillation, we're able to produce fuel that cuts emissions by 90%. In this video, we'll show you how simple sugarcane stalks could hold the key to an energy revolution. Don't miss out, this is a true breakthrough. It all starts with sugarcane. Sugarcane thrives best in tropical and subtropical climates with plenty of moisture and sandy or loamy soils. That is why tropical regions like Brazil, India, and parts of the United States are ideal for its cultivation. Before planting sugarcane, a soil analysis is performed to determine the potential of hydrogen and nutrient content. Specialized sensors analyze moisture, potential of hydrogen, and nutrient levels, automatically adjusting soil treatment. The optimal pH for sugarcane ranges from 5.5 to 7.0, and based on these readings, fertilizers are applied, usually nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. Modern tractors equipped with GPS systems are used for precise soil preparation. They can handle plowing, cultivating, and fertilizing with maximum efficiency. After preparing the soil, a simple variety of sugarcane is selected, one that is well suited for consistent yields. Automated planters sow the seeds at a distance of 3 to 5 feet apart and at a depth of 2 to 4 inches to ensure even growth. Workers use specialized sensors to monitor planting depth and row spacing, which increases efficiency by 20%. Next, drip irrigation is used. Modern irrigation systems are equipped with moisture sensors that automatically activate watering only when necessary, helping to conserve water. During the first few weeks, it is crucial to maintain adequate moisture for root development. Drip irrigation can reduce water usage by 30% while promoting better plant growth. Irrigation is controlled through programs that account for weather conditions, typically scheduled 2 to 3 times a week, depending on the weather. Harvesting typically takes place 12 to 18 months after planting, when the sugarcane stalks have reached their peak sugar content. It is important to conduct a sugar content analysis to determine the best time for harvest. Before the harvest begins, fields are assessed for the readiness of the sugarcane, taking into account plant maturity and the presence of any diseases. Once preparations are complete, harvesters take over. These harvesting machines are equipped with specialized heads that allow them to cut the sugarcane stalks without damaging the plants. The heads may use cutting mechanisms that operate by rotation or oscillation. Modern harvesters also come with sensors to monitor moisture levels and plant density, ensuring a more efficient and precise harvest. After harvesting, the sugarcane moves to the initial stage of processing, where it is cleaned and chopped. To prepare the raw material for extraction, the stalks are cut into short segments, about 6 to 8 inches long, followed by preliminary shredding. Shredded stalks are easier to extract juice from, making this step essential for increasing juice extraction efficiency. Specialized machines, shredders or hammer mills, are used, each with different cutting mechanisms such as teeth or knives. Shredders are equipped with cutting elements that ensure fast and even shredding of the sugarcane stalks, preventing irregular particle sizes. The processed sugarcane is fed into a shredding chamber where it is broken down into smaller pieces, typically ranging from 0.8 to 2 inches. This size optimization allows for ideal conditions for juice extraction. Once shredded, the cane particles are discharged from the machine for further processing. Modern biofuel production reminds me of my high school experiments. My parents were environmental activists in their youth, so awareness of ecological issues was practically instilled in me from birth. I was absolutely thrilled when I discovered that you could theoretically make biofuel from ordinary potatoes. It was such a blast, boiling up that potato mixture and then adding yeast. Unfortunately, I didn't have any special yeast, so I had to swipe some regular baking yeast from the kitchen. In the end, I left my biofuel to ferment for a few days, but somehow managed to forget about it for almost a month. Don't ask what I found in that jar when I finally remembered it. You're better off asking how many times I had to mow the lawn as punishment. But honestly, I regret nothing. It was a lot of fun. So where was I? Oh, right. Conveyors automatically transport the shredded sugarcane to the presses, reducing the time between preparation and extraction stages. During the extraction process, the maximum amount of sugar content is released, which is essential for fermentation and biofuel production. In modern industrial settings, extraction is done using large roller presses. Typically, multi-roller presses, 5 to 7 rollers, are used, which gradually apply increasing pressure to the raw material. The first rollers extract 60 to 70% of the juice, while the second and third stages allow for an additional 20 to 30% extraction. As each pressing stage reduces the moisture content of the material, the end result is a dry residue called bagasse, which is also utilized for energy needs. The extracted juice has a high concentration of sugars and moisture, but it also contains solid residues and other impurities that need to be removed. The juice is filtered and purified before fermentation. Filtration systems rely on automated cleaning processes, which monitor the juice composition and automatically remove solid particles and other unwanted impurities. The decanting and centrifugation processes are fully automated, efficiently separating the liquid from the solids. Speaking of bagasse, the solid residue left after extraction, it is used as biomass for energy production, burned to generate steam and electricity. I'm just amazed at how well thought out everything is. After filtration, the sugar juice is prepared for fermentation. It must be treated to create the ideal environment for the yeast, which will convert the sugars into ethanol. The juice is typically mixed with water to achieve the desired sugar concentration, which is usually around 12 to 18%. Special sensors monitor temperature, potential of hydrogen, and solution concentration in real time, ensuring consistency across all batches of juice sent to fermentation. Yeast, the biological catalyst of the fermentation process, is then added to the prepared solution. The yeast dosage is handled automatically, with precise control over the number of active cells in the fermenter. Modern fermentation systems use automated setups for yeast cultivation and regeneration, ensuring a steady and highly efficient process. Fermentation takes place in large tanks that provide the ideal conditions for the yeast. The process typically lasts from 24 to 72 hours, depending on the temperature, yeast type, and desired outcome. Not that long, right? The optimal fermentation temperature usually ranges from 86 to 95 degrees Fahrenheit, and automated systems maintain this range. Oxygen sensors regulate aeration levels because excess oxygen can slow down the conversion of sugar into ethanol. Automation ensures precise control of these parameters. Online monitoring systems measure sugar concentration, ethanol levels, potential of hydrogen, and gas exchange within the tanks. This data allows operators to predict the completion of the process and automatically adjust the temperature or oxygen flow to optimize the final product. Oh, we finally reached the final stage of producing biofuel from sugarcane. After fermentation is complete, the liquid in the tanks contains about 10 to 15% ethanol. The carbon dioxide released during fermentation is collected and can be used in various industrial processes, such as producing soft drinks or for refrigeration. The leftover yeast is also reused or repurposed for other applications. The resulting liquid, which contains ethanol, requires further purification and concentration. To achieve this, specialized filtration and distillation systems are employed, where the liquid is separated into ethanol and water. The filtration process is fully automated, with the liquid passing through multi-stage filters that remove solid particles and yeast. The distillation systems also feature computerized controllers that maintain optimal temperature and pressure for separating ethanol from water with minimal energy loss. The distillation columns are equipped with pressure and temperature sensors to keep the temperature within the necessary range, around 172 degrees Fahrenheit for ethanol. The heat generated during distillation is used to preheat other batches or to maintain temperatures in other parts of the plant. And finally, after distillation and several other processes, we obtain bioethanol, a unique biofuel made from sugarcane. The primary industry where bioethanol is used is transportation. In the United States and Brazil, ethanol is blended with gasoline to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and decrease reliance on imported oil. There are several main types of ethanol fuel blends. E10 is a standard fuel containing 10% ethanol and 90% gasoline. It is widely used in the United States and can be used in most vehicles without the need for engine modifications. E85, on the other hand, is a blend containing up to 85% ethanol and is used in specially adapted vehicles known as flex fuel cars. Ethanol made from sugarcane has significant environmental advantages over fossil fuels. Since sugarcane absorbs carbon dioxide while growing, bioethanol can reduce greenhouse gas emissions by 70 to 90% compared to gasoline. Additionally, ethanol fuel blends help reduce harmful pollutants in exhaust gases, such as carbon monoxide and benzene. Let's not forget the economic benefits as well. Bioethanol creates a substantial number of jobs in agriculture and industry. In both the United States and Brazil, the ethanol production industry provides hundreds of thousands of jobs. At the same time, the automation of production and logistics processes helps lower the cost of ethanol production, making it competitive with gasoline. The price of bioethanol varies by region, but thanks to technological innovations, its cost is gradually decreasing. Did you know that railroad tracks can actually bend like noodles? Yet in an instant, they become tougher than rock. Every year, over 15 million tons of steel are used to build these tracks. But how do we transform raw iron ore into rails that can withstand the weight of thousands of tons? Stick around to discover how cutting-edge technology and precision engineering are revolutionizing infrastructure. The process of manufacturing railroad tracks is a fascinating blend of advanced technology and heavy machinery. But it all begins with iron ore. This ore is mined either in open pits or underground. Open pit mining is used when deposits are near the surface, employing massive excavators and drilling machines. For deeper ore deposits, underground mines are excavated. Once the ore is extracted, it is crushed and refined through several stages to separate the iron and remove impurities. The enrichment process involves crushing, grinding, and either magnetic or flotation separation, which produces a concentrate with a high iron content. To create a strong and flexible alloy, carbon is added to the iron ore. This carbon typically comes from coking coal, which undergoes high-temperature processing. Other elements like chromium, manganese, nickel, or molybdenum are also added to the steel to enhance its strength and other critical properties. Every year, more than 15 million tons of steel are used worldwide for railway tracks. This represents a significant portion of global steel production, and demand continues to grow due to infrastructure expansion and the need to replace worn-out tracks. After extraction and initial processing, the raw materials are transported to steel mills. Rail and maritime transport are commonly used, especially for long distances, since ore is often mined in remote areas. Thus, steel production for rails involves combining various materials sourced from different parts of the world, with the extraction and processing stages relying on complex machinery and a multi-step refining process. The production of railway tracks begins in the steelmaking facility, where iron ore and other components are melted in specialized electric or blast furnaces to create molten steel. Carbon and alloying elements are then added to the steel to enhance its strength. Once the desired composition is achieved, the metal is maintained at a high temperature to ensure uniformity. The molten steel is poured into large molds, forming slabs, rectangular blocks of steel that will eventually be shaped into rails. After cooling, the slabs are transported to the rolling mill for further processing. A rolling mill is a massive machine that shapes steel slabs into the desired form and size for rails. The slabs pass through a series of rollers, which gradually reduce their thickness and form the railhead, web, and base. The rails are rolled at temperatures exceeding 1,832 degrees Fahrenheit, making the metal more pliable. To increase the hardness and wear resistance of the rails, a heat treatment process is applied. The rails pass through cooling chambers where the temperature is gradually reduced, minimizing internal stress in the metal. Typically, 1 foot of rail weighs about 45 to 55 pounds, meaning a standard rail weighs approximately 3,858 pounds. A large steel mill can produce around 3,500 feet of rails per shift, roughly 10,000 feet per day. Once the rails are finished, they undergo thorough inspections for defects such as cracks, surface irregularities, or other damage. Specialized ultrasonic and X-ray techniques are used to ensure quality. After inspection, the rails are cut to standard lengths of approximately 1,000 inches, and their ends are machined for easier connection during installation. Once manufactured, the rails are transported to construction or repair sites. Trains specially designed for carrying long rails are typically used for this purpose. Freight cars secure the rails tightly to prevent any movement during transit. Laying railroad tracks is a complex process that requires the use of specialized machinery. First, the ballast, which serves as the foundation for the ties and rails, is leveled and compacted along the railway bed. This ballast is crucial for the stability of the tracks and for proper drainage. Ballast spreaders evenly distribute the crushed stone, creating a stable layer on which the ties and rails will be laid. Automatic tie-laying machines then place wooden or concrete ties on the prepared ballast base, ensuring they are spaced precisely. These machines are equipped with sensors to maintain an exact distance between the ties, which is essential for the stability of the future track. Railroad rails can last up to 30 years or more, depending on the volume of traffic and environmental conditions. However, on high-traffic routes, such as those used for freight trains, rails may wear out more quickly and require replacement every 10 to 15 years. Next, the rail laying machines take over, and oh my goodness, what a mesmerizing sight it is. When we think of rails, we usually picture something as rigid as stone. Yet during the laying process, they seem to bend under the influence of the machines, almost like rubber bands. In reality, this is due to the immense forces acting on them. When rails are first rolled out, they're heated to extremely high temperatures to make the steel more malleable and easier to shape. During installation, rails are sometimes reheated to prevent future thermal expansion, which gives them that seemingly softer, more pliable appearance. Specialized machines carefully lift, align, and position these long sections of rail as though they're weightless and not the solid, unyielding steel we know them to be. It's all thanks to precise manipulation and the illusion of flexibility, which cleverly conceals the incredible strength of the steel. This is one of those fascinating railway magic tricks, where raw power and advanced technology combine to create a spectacle that's as captivating as it is impressive. Workers then join the rails using specialized bolted or welded joints. Thermite welding or electric welding equipment is employed to create a seamless rail line, ensuring a smooth ride for trains. It's remarkable how much effort goes into making it possible for me to visit my favorite grandma, or for any office worker to commute to their job. To secure the rails to the ties, special fasteners are used to clamp them firmly in place. This ensures stability and prevents the rails from shifting under the weight of passing trains. Rails have the ability to freely expand and contract by a few millimeters for every 10 yards, depending on the temperature. As a result, when laying tracks, engineers take average annual temperatures into account. In some cases, the rails are even heated to a specific temperature during installation to minimize the effects of thermal expansion. Automatic fastening machines quickly install bolts or clips to connect the rails to the ties, significantly speeding up the process. Once the rails and ties are in place, specialized machines align the track by lifting or lowering the ties and adjusting the ballast beneath them. Thanks to laser sensors and computer control, these machines ensure precise track alignment, which is critical for safety. Other machines tamp the ballast, crushed stone, around the ties, providing a solid foundation. This reduces the risk of track shifting and enhances its resistance to vibrations. These machines are equipped with special tamping arms that dig deep into the ballast and compact it firmly around the ties. Rails are often made using a significant percentage of recycled steel, as steel retains its properties well during reuse. This helps reduce the need for new ore extraction and lowers the carbon footprint, contributing to a more sustainable production process.